This is the handover instruction video for the Globestar 600L. We'll begin on the outside of the vehicle. You'll notice that you have a slide out step. The slide out step is controlled from a switch located just inside the door. For travelling, the step must be retracted. If you set off or attempt to set off in the vehicle with the step out, an audible buzzer will sound in the cab to remind you to withdraw the step. Further along the side of the vehicle, you have your fresh water inlet. Insert the key and twist the cap, and then use a hose pipe to fill up the vehicle. Place the cap, secure it, and then turn the key to stop the cap from falling out. Above the bed at the back, you have your winding handle for your roll-out awning. Unclip and insert the hook into the eyelet at the end, and then begin to twist the knob. Don't, however, try and open the awning, as you can see here with the sliding door open. With the sliding door shut, you should be able to roll the awning out to about 2/3. Located up into the front of the pelmet, you have legs. Pull out at the ends first of all, and then pull out from the centre section, and then allow the legs to twist through 90 degrees and drop to the floor. Undo the leg release and put a little bit of pressure on it, and then lock the leg release into position. Repeat on the other side, and then you continue walking out the legs until the awning is fully extended. So there you have the awning fully extended. A reminder to you that this is a sunshade, not a storm shelter, so in wet or windy conditions it needs to be retracted back into the vehicle. And you can use pegs down onto the floor if the surfaces allow. Once you've opened the back doors at the back, over on the right hand side you have your fresh water tank. There's a red inspection cap which can be removed for inserting cleaning materials or sterilisation of the tank. Down in the corner there is a small black tap which can be twisted in accordance with the illustration that's shown on the lid, either to empty the tank completely for winter storage, or if you want to carry a transit amount of water, which is approximately 20 litres. In the garage space below the bed, alongside the toolkit, there is an aperture underneath the bed box, and located in the bottom of that is your drain tap for the water heater. In the event of the van becoming cold, the blue tap on the top actually opens, and it allows the content of the water heater to drain out. You must reposition the tap as it's shown here and push in the blue button at the base in order to reset and allow yourself to refill the tank with water. When you open up the gas locker in the back, you have 2 gas bottles provided for you. Each gas cylinder has a drive safe crash sensor on it. So when you open up the cylinder using the brass knob, you must press down on the green stud to allow the gas flow to come through. There is an additional point below the regulator that also needs to be reset, like so. Use the changeover valve to select which cylinder you're using. So at the moment we're using this cylinder here on the right, but you could change over to use the cylinder on the left. On the near side of the vehicle you have your mains hookup point. Insert your cable and connect to the site post and the power supply that you're going to be using. Adjacent to that you have your exhaust for the blown air water heating system, so if you're operating it on gas, make sure that this vent is not obstructed. Further along you have your toilet cassette, which will open up shortly. Down on the skirt you have this black valve which opens up your wastegate. This handle is normally separated from the vehicle. Insert on at this angle and then push down on the handle to twist the valve underneath, which allows you to dump your grey water supply. The toilet cassette is opened by you inserting the key and pushing in on both locks simultaneously. The door is held in position using a magnet inside the door frame, and then inside the toilet cassette is revealed. Pull up on the yellow lever, and as long as the gland valve is shut internally, you should be able to draw the cassette out easily. On a campsite you'll have specific points for these to be emptied into. Remove the yellow cap from the outside. The cap has a measuring cup inside of it for the replacement of fresh chemicals in order to break down the waste that goes into it. There'll be collection points located around the campsite for these to be emptied into. Tip up the unit and press the yellow valve at the top to allow the airflow in and to allow the waste to eject out of the cassette. Before you insert the cassette back into the side of the van, up to a capful of chemical or one of the sachets, mix with about 2 litres of water, give it a little swirl around, and you're ready to go for the next occasion. Insert the cassette back into the van and make sure that it's locked into position, ready for use. The fuel filler cap is located behind the passenger door. Open up the external filler cap, insert the ignition key, twist and twist off. The filler cap can be hung on the bottom of the filler cap door. Underneath the cab floor you have located your engine battery. Underneath the passenger seat you have your access panel for the fuses and for the internal operation of the van. Underneath the driver's seat is located the leisure battery. On the end of the passenger dashboard you have your bonnet release. Pull the lever firmly back and that allows the bonnet to be opened. There is a central locating plate which needs to be squeezed up to allow the bonnet to be opened. Over on the right hand side, because your engine battery is located underneath the passenger floor, there is a paddle which you could attach a positive lead to, and the negative lead would go onto this bolt fitting should you require to jump start the vehicle. Your oil filler cap and dipstick are located like so, and then further along the vehicle you have your brake fluid, your coolant, your power steering fluid, and then accessible using a funnel you have your screen washer additive section. When you come inside the vehicle, above the sliding door you have your Globecar control panel. The button down on the left hand side engages your 12-volt supply, and that enables you to use your interior lights, your water pumps, circulation fans on the heating system and the ignition system, and also the 12-volt supply to the fridge. There are level indicators which give you the indication of the battery level, your fresh water supply, and any water that's in the grey water system. Once you've plugged into the main supply, you'll see this symbol here light up, telling you that you have 240 volt supply coming in. The mains RCD box is located underneath the bed. At the moment the main switches are all in the off position. Once you've connected to the main supply you should be able to lift up the bank of switches, and that in turn will turn on the main supply inside the van. At the top of the stairs you have 2 out of 3 possible isolator taps for the individual appliances for the gas. At the moment, the cooker and the water heating, room heating system, they are in line, which means that they are switched on. The middle tap is redundant. With the gas supply turned on, you should be able to use a gas match to engage the gas. It's advisable to turn both burners on periodically just to ensure that you have a good continuity and gas supply coming through. On these, this lid does not cut off the gas supply if it comes down, so you must make sure that the gas supply is switched off and the burners are cooled. Otherwise, the glass lid will break on contact with the heat. As long as you have a good water supply, the pump will be activated with the turning on of the 12-volt supply, and as long as the drain valve has been shut properly and reset on the water heater, you should be able to draw cold water through immediately. There may be a delay if you haven't used the water heater for a while, or if the water heater has been emptied out, in a continuous supply of water coming through on the water heater. The water heating and room heating controls are located above the sliding door. The left hand dial is the selection for the energy source that you're going to use, whether it's gas or electric or a combination of both. The right hand dial is the task that you want to carry out, so that could be water heating, room heating, or again a combination of water heating and room heating. We'll start with the left hand dial. If you turn the nodule anti-clockwise up towards the 2 o'clock or the 1 o'clock position, you will heat the water up to either 40 or 60 degrees. It's accompanied with a green light indicating that it's coming on, and if you have an amber light, it's an indication that the water hasn't reached the temperature that's been selected. Once that amber light is extinguished, you've got that temperature. Somewhere between about 20 and 40 minutes as an average for the water heating, and you're heating 10 litres of water. As that water's drawn off, it's being replenished from the freshwater tank. If you turn the dial clockwise to the 4 o'clock position, you're just using the flame, and that indicates that you are just turning on the room heating. The central dial becomes your room thermostat. The higher the number, the greater the increase in heat. And then finally, as a combination of both water heating and room heating, you turn it to the bottom position, heats the water to 60 degrees and gives you your room heating at the same time. Throughout this exercise, we've just been using the gas, which is indicated by a little nodule pointing towards that flame symbol. If I turn it anti-clockwise, you'll use either a 900 or an 1800 watt element. If you turn it in the opposite direction, you'll use a combination of the 900 and the gas, or the 1800 and the gas, to heat the water or do the tasks that you've required. Make sure that they're turned back to the off position when the appliances aren't in use. The fridge is a 12-volt compressor fridge. Open the door by releasing the travel catch, pull on it back on it firmly. As long as the 12-volt supply has been turned on at the main control panel, you should then be able to twist the knob of the thermostat control either from an off position where there is no light to a thermostatically adjustable position, and it will provide then a small chill box at the top as well as the main fridge below. To gain access to the bathroom and use the toilet, make sure that the popper stud is undone on the shower door and open the door accordingly. For the silver bowl toilet to work effectively, you need to open the slider, which is located at the back of the toilet bowl, and pull it forward. That opens up a wastegate, which is located in the bowl itself, like so, and it allows your waste to go through. To flush the toilet, there is a blue button located behind the back of the bowl. Pressing on that, and it draws fresh water from your onboard freshwater tank. An indicator light will illuminate should the cassette become full. The sink is a tip-up sink. Pull out on the knob and allow gently the sink to drop, and you can then use the water taps to control it. Push down on the trigger and push the trigger slightly forward, and that gives you a free open vent. Alternatively, if you want to use it as the shower, draw firmly on the shower head and then use the trigger to control the shower pressure. Side and rear windows are top hung double glazed units. You must make sure that the latches are on the innermost position whenever you are travelling. Never travel with the windows partially opened. On the side windows, they have ratchets on them, so when you push out on it, you'll hear a click as it takes to a biting point. Keep pushing for the different sections and then push beyond those biting points to bring the window back in. The blinds and fly screens, first of all, a blind pulls down from the top, and then by reaching for the slider in the middle, you can then pull it down again, and that completes the process for the fly screen. For the front roof light, there is a handle which is flip down, and then you twist the handle around to open up the main roof light. It opens up to about 45 degrees or so. It shouldn't be open when the vehicle is in transit. It should always be shut down firmly. When you go to lock it back down, keep turning after the roof light is closed until you feel a degree of resistance, and then close the lid over. Also on these roof lights, you have a blind and also a fly screen. The rear roof light has a push knob, and in order to get that to open, you need to push in on it and then draw the handle down the tracks and set it to the desired open position. Push it firmly and push back, making sure that the knob has located itself back the other side of the handle. This model comes with a third bed option. Located at the back of the table are push down clips. Each one must be pushed down in turn to allow the detachment of the table accordingly. Having detached the table from the base, remove the leg, and then pulling out on the release knob, turn the table through 180 degrees so that you activate the extension, and then sit the table down onto the base plinth. With the table in position and the extension put out, a separate section is put into position which has a hinge bar connected onto it, and it's located onto the top of the extension for the table. After that, you add on the mattresses. There are two mattress sections. With the passenger seat pushed forward, you should be able to insert one on top of the table. The second one, which has a slight triangular section to it, goes on top of the main board section, with the cutout going into the B pillar.